important game for them to keep up and into this fight. A hard south shift goes slap bang on top of Team Spirit.
They are so happy with this one. Again, 2 chances in a row here for Team Spirit. Sandhawk was not a bad innings from them in terms of positioning. But this has to be the game where they get 10 to 15 points. This is a match where it's definitely doable. It's certainly possible. And it would keep them so safe on the tables. It's a strong spot on the map to play. Twisted Mind's currently getting pulled apart by Alpha 7. Doran plays a front line, but he's got no backup at all.
You might stand behind the smoke, but the bullets go straight on through. A little clap back there. Maybe a bit of danger.
DRX.
Revel going down. DRX looking for shots. Twisted Minds, yeah, they will fall entirely, but losing Revel is really not the greatest. And it is Harame, bro, to put pressure on DRX from the north as well. Everybody looking out their way. Team Spirit, in the meantime, on tower defense. They need to keep hold of this central scenario.
Yeah, Demuerte tried to push them. They get 2 initial knocks, which is awesome. And Demuerte down to 2 players. BTR did get knocked themselves. Effects finds another. 1 player does go down for Team Spirit, but really good clap back there. And I think the Effect realizes there's an angle through that window. This is very safe gameplay from Team Spirit. It was a good initial knock onto BTR as well, because that stopped them from trying to third party onto this one. DRX getting torn to pieces by Alpha 7 too, as Kaise tries to move through, but here they are again. It's Bro Harame.
Oh no.
Oh dear me.
It's always them.
One player. Yeah, every time.
Crash. All right, into the middle. BTR looking to hold off. Good for 1. 2 players playing split right now. The flush comes through. Is that stolen away? I think it was. Zeus are chiming in. Genfos still holding the wall, though. They don't really care at this point about taking these knocks. But BTR, what? Where do they just go? They evaporate. It's going to be Team Spirit. It's Zeus as well chiming in. Aura going to be successful on their crash, but not so successful at staying alive and healthy. Look at the damage that's been done. Team Spirit, 4 eliminations. They are on a tear this match. What a south shift for them. It's going to play out well. This compound is treacherous sometimes, Blank, but right now they have an accord.
That's an unreal nade from Nomi, because it looks like it just goes through the door there, and that's an easy pickoff, but he does it through the door and then into the room on the side to get the full-on knock and flush. That was really well placed. And again, you don't have the full sightline on that. It's not easy to get nades in, and that really does diminish the power of Horror in that position. They could have maybe got up to 3 players, and now Team Spirit have this team to play guard dog for them on the eastern side, because they are not going to want to fight them in the near future. Mirin Sejong down to 3. Possibility to maybe pick up their player. Sky gets knocked again by another nade from Team Spirit. They are feeling themselves this game.
Loops over the top near Mirin Sejong, losing Jae-suk. 3 players on the northwest side. Can they get back up into the conversation, stay alive in the top 3? It would be big for them. The southwest shift there on the circle gives them a little bit of an opening to play to the west, but they've got Alpha 7 in the way, Major Pride as well, 2 of the teams that they want the least to perform well. Team Spirit as well on the northeast side with this compound. Finally, the nade from Nomi deals the final blow to Aura. They are eliminated. Nobody else in the compound now. The crash from Loops over towards Mirin Sejong. A hop out wide. It's traded 1 for 1. Mirin Sejong, though, eating the brunt of it, and Loops stay alive in the fight. MSJ down once more, and Major Pride, DRX, Alpha 7. Again, an opportunity.
Loop's getting a bit of info onto where Major Pride is currently playing. 2 Iliums on the game versus Zinko early on. Now Nade's starting to fly on over the top. That is very close to Vitin. Another one should seal the deal. Quick first aid kit keeps him in the game. Not sure what that jump up was, though. That was interesting.
AZ's been spotted. I think that's coming from Team Spirit. Yeah, from the compound. They've spotted Major Pride. This would be a great pickup for them if they can get... Well, they've gotten rid of MSJ. The lobby has gotten rid of MSJ. If they can get rid of Major Pride, DRX, this is massive for Team Spirit. But unfortunately, Harame Bro is still alive, and they get a knock over towards Team Spirit's way.
Yeah, I mean, all this, by the way, whilst they're fending off versus Alpha 7. Yappy's like, I'll take shots over that way. Sounds good to me. Vitali gets knocked from Inko. Luke's still trying to push through here. Major Pride haven't quite been able to stymie this. Zeus darking the outside edge, and they will finish up this fight between them as well as Inko, further solidifying their position towards survival stage.
RSG and Harame Bro both have an opportunity to push up towards that bubble as well. In the meantime, Major Pride suffering, Alpha 7 collecting a little bit of the reward for that. The bounty on their heads fairly high right now. A lot of teams would like to see Alpha 7 not make it a big threat in the lobby, but I know the fans want the exact opposite. Team Spirit hold off another push as well in this compound, and 11 eliminations blank. This is an all-time. What a way to go into this match for Team Spirit.
Yeah, it was an unreal spray down with some great nades once again. The nades from Team Spirit this game have been unbelievably good. Another knock over towards Rita. Matic is taking things even further as Zeus is on their northern side. Again, I said this had to be a 10-15 elim game for them, and they are certainly extracting as much value as they can out of this game. And if this keeps going with 23 teams still alive inside this lobby, you know, Team Spirit could set themselves with a buffer in match 2. That's going to be very hard to ascend over the top of. They might drop down toward 3rd place, which is going to be very difficult for them to drop even further than that.
Team Spirit on the momentum now. Nades in towards Zeus, and they go over towards Major Pride. Oh, they were going to go one way, but instead they went the other. It's one apiece, as Team Spirit do get one from the knock that they got. Major Pride get that other elimination, so 1 point either way. On the north side, Major Pride playing with 3. They're going to have to shift through, but Team Spirit still have a slice of this. Do not ignore Vampire here either, Blank. Schweppes and Tony K, two incredible players. They have a building on that south side. They have a little bit of cover to play around. Teams will look to crash in, but a lot of teams are going to look to do the same maneuvers here, and it's going to be tough to make it unscathed.
Yeah, for Alpha 7 on this western side, again, we said this team is looking to catch up. They're looking to chase. 7 elims on the match so far. DRX going down to 1 player early is a big deal. And Miran Sejong drop into 3rd place, John. Both our South Korean teams at risk of not making it into that top 3.
It's so volatile right at the top, but Team Spirit have finally found a little foothold. They are surging forwards here. The diesel engine starting to billow smoke now for Team Spirit. And it's a threat. It's a call out to the rest of the lobby. Show us what you've got. Team Spirit are here to play today.
This is what I wanted to see from Team Spirit, is this rotate over towards the western side. They hear the fighting, they hear the gunshots. They would love to clear out this western side. It's no good staying inside this compound for too long. If they can find a little bit of action over towards this edge, pick up more eliminations, clear out the western teams, their life becomes so much easier on the northern side. They're not quite finding anything just yet, though. Instead of being greedy, they've returned back to the fold.
Discipline is the name of the game for Team Spirit here. It's what they need. It's what they've delivered on so far this match. 23 minutes in, they've got 12 eliminations, and they're looking to rack up more. Major Pride want to cut away at Alpha 7, whittle them down once more, and McGrellan's the next to go. Carved out of the roster, and now it's just the 1 player left standing. Alpha 7 in danger.
Alright, my bro. Try and make their way over towards Vampires. Like you said, this ditch is very nice to play in. It's one of the few positions down towards the south side that you'll see a lot of teams just crash a ton of vehicles into. It does become difficult because it's very much a nadeable spot. As long as you can make sure that you can prevent teams from getting too close, it gets a lot easier. But with only 1 nade, you have to make it count. And this guy will find 2 off the back of it. DX Xavier do spot out effect. They were pumping the damage over towards Major Pride. He should be resable here, though.
No one's really a threat to them. In effect, was on the back lines with the rest of Team Spirit. They're starting to break out of the compound. They need cover to go for this res, but they will be able to find it. Managing to get into that position. Now start to look to leave out of the compound. DXavier, a major threat from the south side. I'm surprised they haven't gone in and get a little bit closer to this shack, but they're biding their time. They don't need to make a dramatic move right now.
Yeah, it's very hard terrain for DXavier to cross, actually. They'd need somewhat of a smoke train to head over towards the northern side, because there is a lot of sightlines looking down towards them. So they're going to wait until the lobby's thinned out a little bit and then exert some pressure, because with 4 players, they can certainly do that. Only 2 limbs, so I'm wondering how limited the utility is. This is an actual boon for Major Pride and Alpha 7 being able to stay alive in this one, but a shot does ring out, takes down Alpha 7 in the process. I think that is Major Pride picking up now 8 eliminations. 2 players remaining for them.
Matic gets spotted. Yeah. Oh dear. It's been here for a while. The last player on DRX. He might be alone, but he's not out of it just yet. The nade to blast the vehicle away from him, so he doesn't have any cover. And Matic goes down. 3 players now for Team Spirit. It's disaster, but the nade for... What? How on earth did that not work? Kitsune goes low, but they do manage to find the trade. Nomi on the high ground here, over towards DXavier, gets the knock over to Lamborghini in a pivotal position to find those 3 players now left standing. It whittles away at their time. They are wasting it now on the south, going for this res, and DXavier have to mount up. I'm expecting a crash towards Vampire Shack here, but how are they going to make it work? The smoke train, it's initiated.
This is what they need to do. And like I said, they were waiting for the lobby to be thinned a little bit before they stepped this one up. Good job to Nomi, though. Any vehicle that was spotted, he did take out the wheels on, gets a targeted shot over towards one of them. Doesn't quite go down just yet, but there's another from Effect. Paragin's down. And the circle is closing, John. Time is running out.
Effect out on the off angle, gets caught by a couple of rounds, stays a little bit too long there, but does survive it. 14 eliminations here, Blank. 5 for Nomi, 5 for Effect, going blow for blow on these tables. Now the nades come in for DXavier. Tony K and Schweppes up in the shack, looking to hold off this push, but in it comes. Levi's moves forwards. Paragin down on the back lines. They are being cut at. 1,000 of them sent the way of DXavier, and the nades from Tony K. Vampire surviving now, looking to try and push their way in towards that conversation, and DXavier are down. Vampire collect.
And so they should. I mean, from this position, it was so hard to get up towards them, and they had to use so much smoke cover that it was hard for them to place those nades in Cinder Shack. It's now just 2 teams, a 3v2v2. Now, for Team Spirit, the job's not done yet. The chicken dinner really is the thing that will catapult them towards the top side and give them that guard post to hold out other teams underneath them. They're going to swing wide up towards that northern edge.
Kitsune with the clenched fists and the stare down. He's powering up.
Look at the utility on these guys.
Unleashed here. They have so many teams that crashed into their compound, right? They have the pick of the litter when it comes to gear, when it comes to what utility you want to bring in. And they're on 15 eliminations. Potential for 19 if they can find all 4 of the remaining points in this lobby. Elementrix spots Kitsune on the cross, but can't get too bold with it. Still has Vampire to worry about.
Smart moves from Nomi as well. I think he's learned his lesson at this point is that, you know, you can make these pushes, but you've got to be absolutely certain no one's sat around this location. There will be a slight delay for Team Spirit because they need to stim. They know they need to stim. They don't want to be going into these final fights on low HP. Elementrix has done a lot of work this game on some of these beautiful off angles he's been able to take. Being really crucial, actually, in taking down Alpha 7. Yeah, it's not over Team Spirit yet. Arguably, they're not actually in the most amazing of positions right now.
Smoke trains for scouting, the buggy rollout over towards Major Pride, keeping covered from Vampire down the hill. They are moving through. The roll downs need to be good here. They need to rock up and find a knock immediately. They can't afford to lose players, but Nomi's out. And Kitsune doesn't have anything to answer it with. 2 players now stand, but they've managed to move forwards. They've allowed themselves a little bit of an open window here to try and clamber on through as Vampire start to break out of their position too.
Team Spirit has been desperate for Vampire to do anything during this game, and they just really haven't. This high ground for Major Pride has been the biggest factor for them. Kitsune falls to Tony K, and now just Effect Alive. A third place would be disastrous for Team Spirit. The 15 elims are good, but that chicken dinner would have been the thing. Really kept them so safe towards this late game. Vampire and Major Pride now facing off against one another. Effect, the Lone Ranger in the east.
Maybe there's a world he gets the res, but it's so unlikely. Kitsune's flushed away, and that's now impossible. Tony K has to hit the deck. Effect, what have you got? Major Pride as well. Remember, this is a team fighting for the top 3, and Vampire want to make it into that conversation too. A crucial final circle closes as the final crunch is on. Effect is spotted in the... AZ? Did you not see him there? He didn't go for the spray, so I guess not. AZ has to crawl forwards now. He can't step up because Vampire have the broadside. Major Pride with so little cover on the terrain. Effects up to the tree. He's closer to the middle. And it's all on his shoulders. Team Spirit's chances here. And an excellent knock to AZ. Vampire is still on 2. Elementrix if he sweeps, if he gets that shot. But Tony K here behind the tree. He steps out. Effect has to hit the deck. And there it is. Team Spirit go down. 3rd place. Another elimination, sure. But in they go. And it is Vampire from underneath. The 2 players survive and put themselves back in once more.
And the team chasing for top 3 technically, and 10 points off the back of that, and a good hold. It's 2 players towards that ditch, managed to survive the entire game. Arguably one of the most impressive matches for Vampire so far. I think for Team Spirit it is great news they get the amount of eliminations that they do. But a botched endgame. I feel like that rollout from those players, including Nomi, was maybe unnecessary there. They could have just dropped a smoke trade. They had so much utility.
They had everything to work with, but the vampiric Ica slowed down the lobby, stopped the crossings, and in the end, consumed all. Vampire with a chicken dinner.
This is making me think a little bit about Bigatron way back in the day when the Twins were the only 2 left alive for BTR, and they came back on the Miramar and won the map. A big win for Vampire considering where they are in the leaderboards. Not to mention, just like BTR then, they only had 2 players for at least 15 minutes of time that they had to hold out on. And Hot Jukes and Max, I don't know how they did it. A little bit of, we have to say luck, especially with Team Spirit there, losing a couple players in maybe situations they shouldn't have. But nonetheless, they close out the game when they desperately need to, and they put themselves within reach of going for top 3.
This is the worst time, Matic, to do a Matic Classic, okay? This is not the time to do it. But, man, Vampire, the fact that they especially were able to defend against a full-on 4-man push of Deeg Xavier Hot Jukes, they got a little bit of help off Team Spirit, but they had 2 for so damn long, and they were making sure that they were using their resources so efficiently, especially the grenades of Schweppes. So many players got Schweppes this game, okay?
Yes,
those
they
nades
did.
were on point. Wow.
Dude, Schweppes was no joke. He was landing them. I think he got that beautiful double knock, and that was just, gorgeous. And when it comes to Vampire, they use that bottom of the hill so perfect. Their end game is so strong, right? They just pre-fire that grass. They don't have to see where the player is, right? You just got to know, like, all right, he's got to be in the edge somewhere right here. Take the shots, and that's what they do. So Vampire clutching up a win. There's honestly so much to talk about. I can't wait to see the leaderboards because things are shaking up. Alpha 7 got some good points on the board. Vampire with this win, they got to get closer to that top 3 situation. All I know is that when we saw Vampire walk past MSJ just a few seconds ago, MSJ was not looking happy. They were looking nervous, dude, big time.
I mean, just like Major Pride, right? Imagine being top of the table for such a long time that potentially falter on the last day. To see potentially Mir and Sajon not qualify in top 3 and get straight to the grand finals would be a travesty with how well they played throughout this league stage so far. But honestly, let's just kind of dive into this game here and roll it back a little bit. Team Spirit, Max, they didn't have to really move too much. And typically in situations like that, when you're in a compound held up, we typically see a lot of teams like run out of ammo, run out of utility. Except it didn't go that way for Team Spirit this time.
Yeah, we have to also say for Team Spirit, they dropped farm. So that was, what, 500 meters to the east of where the circle was going to end up finishing. So very, very small rotation from them. But you can see in the replays, so many bloody teams crashed at compounds. I think it was 4 teams total right now, Jukes. We had BTR, you had Horror, you had Demuerte, you had RSG. And that means, of course, that all the loot was just picked up by this squad, by Team Spirit. And at the end, they had, what, 12 nades or 16 smokes or something. Insane amount of utility to use in an open terrain finish that really could have given them the win if they didn't lose the solo players earlier on in the match.
Oh my gosh, dude. Team Spirit reminds me of like when I used this game, right? Reminded me like back when I would go to my mama's house. You know what I'm saying? The food would just keep coming and coming and coming this way, you know? And that's what they did. They just ate. And it was so crazy because I was like, man, yeah. I was like, wow, what a great job from Team Spirit to be able to hold all their utility towards the end. Very strong. And then you pointed out, you're like, dude, they just looted like 4 teams. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. You're right. It's so crazy to see just them do that. But you're right. At the same time, it kills me to see those little tiny mistakes from Team Spirit. You know, Matic getting caught out definitely hurt them. And then it just kind of all fell apart from there. But still a massive game from them.
Yeah, Nomi afterwards sent it up. You can see right here in the replay. The thing is that I'm really confused by is they didn't, you even mentioned it, I think, during that game, Jukes. Maybe they thought it was available. Maybe no one was up there. But no, literally 20 seconds before that push, a player of Major Pride shot a few bullets towards Team Spirit. They knew a team was up there. So he knew what was happening up there. He knew what was going down. And unfortunately for him, he lost his life in the process.
20 points. I mean, yeah, they don't get the chicken dinner, but they still had 15 eliminations on top of that. We know what we're not seeing here in our top 8 from the last match.
Oh my! Oh,
Mirror and Sejong.
Mirror and Sejong.
You guys didn't say it, so I feel like I had to say it. Here on the top.
There's a lot
that
of
was
teams,
the team at the top of the table at the start of the day. Yes, Team Spirit passed them in the last match, but that lead that Team Spirit's now building against them is almost solidifying them in a first place position.
I don't like this timeline.
It's
I want Mirror and Sejong back up there, but unfortunately for Mirror and Sejong, this was quite a rough circle for them, but center control was already overtaken by so many teams that they all tried to crash Team Spirit. I think that even if Mirror and Sejong tried to do the typical center send early on, Hot Jukes, into Team Spirit, seeing how they were playing, I think it would not have been successful. So maybe Edge was the best approach this match this time around.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that compound is really tough. I mean, sometimes you could do is have the whole squad just send the main compound, go to the bottom floor, smoke the stairs, and just be like, hey guys, we're gonna be neighbors for a bit, you know?
Yeah.
But Team Spirit, we're not having none of that. They were taking.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
খেল তোর আমি পরে খেলবো হ্যালো
ক্লাউড হ্যালো
হ্যাঁ খেল তোর আমি পরে খেলবো আমি একটু পিএমজিসি ম্যাচগুলো দেখতেছিলাম
কে
পিএমজিসির ম্যাচগুলো দেখতেছিলাম ফাইনাল ডে আজকে পিএমজিসি গুলো দেখতেছিলাম
ঠিক আছে আমিও না খেলিতে পরে খেলবো
ঠিক আছে
taking out every single
place, but looking a little bit lower here. Vampire, still, we do see them get into the late game. Usually before we had, I think, 3 wins and 40 placement points. Even when they don't get wins here, especially I'm looking at the Sanok, they're getting points on board and they're still getting those chicken dinners. So Vampire, they're closing that gap here, and I think we are going to see them make it to top 3 eventually. Vampire seem to be playing so much more aggressive, and I'm loving what I'm seeing from the squad.
Yeah, you know what? And the reason why I hesitated, Jason, too, when you said, like, which team do we not see? Because you know what? MSJ, yeah, we didn't see on that first page. But we also didn't see DRX, right? DRX, I think they only had, like, what, 3 points that last game? And they're in the same position that MSJ is in at this point. They got to start clutching it up. Because let's be real. When it comes to, like, Alpha 7 and Vampire, if you were to just say what would need to happen in order for them to get into top 3, this is the absolute perfect storyline, right? You got the top teams